First of all, I would like to thank the CARE conference organizers and particularly Professor Peter Easton for giving me this opportunity to present our joint work towards the Natural Environment Agency theory. This has been co-authored with Dr. Rajesh Tharyan and Professor Grzegorz Trajnowski. So let me begin with the presentation. Societal health and business health is totally dependent on planetary health, and the planet's health is not good at all. There is no future for business as usual. We are reaching irreversible tipping points for nature and climate, and over half of the global GDP, that is $44 trillion, is potentially threatened by nature loss. Burning of fossil fuels, coupled with the unbridled use of other natural resources, has powered the economic growth that many societies have enjoyed for centuries. However, this overconsumption and unsustainable exploitation of natural resources has also resulted in immense environmental pollution, depletion, and degradation. For example, while the food, land, and ocean use system represents around $10 trillion of GDP, the enormous strain that this puts on the planetary boundaries leads to hidden costs of such use to be around $12 trillion. So clearly, the environmental costs are outweighing the economic benefits of production. From a firm's point of view, such negative environmental impacts have long been considered externalities, the costs of which have rarely been internalized, hence the tragedy of the commons. We, however, take a different view to these externalities. We consider them as natural environmental agency costs based on the Natural Environment Agency theory, to which I will now turn. So basically, we adopt the business as a nexus of contracts view, like the contract between the managers and the shareholders under private property rights of shareholders, and based on public property rights to clean and healthy air, water, and land, we argue that a business has an environmental contract with the society under which it implicitly agrees that it will not pollute or degrade these publicly owned natural environmental resources in the process of the production and sale of its goods or services. In return, society implicitly provides business what we generally call the license to operate. However, in the process of its profit pursuit, the business could and often does violate this environmental contract and impose negative environmental externalities, what we call the natural environmental agency costs of pollution, depletion, and degradation upon the society. If these leaks are sufficiently large, visible, and perceived as materially impacting the environmental welfare of the society would retaliate and demand the business to internalize its leaks, or in the extreme case, society could revoke its license to operate. Some examples of retaliatory actions taken by societal stakeholders include fines imposed by regulators, such as those by the EPA in US, increased costs of some activities, example, the requirement to purchase costly mandatory carbon credits, constraints on firms' operations, such as growing restrictions on the use of fossil fuels, product boycotts, or shifting purchase preferences of consumers away from meat and dairy products, or litigation threats or lawsuits against environmentally irresponsible businesses. Hence, as per the Natural Environment Agency theory, we argue that increased monitoring and threat of retaliation by societal stakeholders would lead to increased environmental commitments, that is, bonding, by businesses, both in terms of their environmental performance and disclosures, as well, which in turn would lead to improved financial performance and reduced financial risk for such businesses. So this is the conceptual model that we also empirically test. We capture monitoring by the news counts on environmental controversies, by analyst coverage and institutional ownership, We also include incentives, environmental incentives in the form of environmental awards and sustainability related compensation incentives in managerial pay packages. And we argue that both monitoring and incentives would lead to higher bonding, which we capture by environmental performance and environmental disclosures of firms. And improved bonding would subsequently lead to improved financial performance and reduced financial risk for businesses. We test this model and we find support for all our hypothesized relations. So, what is the contribution of our work? First of all, we clearly articulate the natural environmental agency contract between business, the agent, and the society. We identify the resultant agency problems, that is, needs of pollution, depletion, and degradation. We discuss various governance mechanisms that can facilitate need reduction and reversal. We show that need reduction and reversal is now clearly in the strategic interest of business. Finally, by positing as a two-way agency relation, we put the onus on both businesses and the society to work together to reduce and reverse needs. Now, some of these need-based implications, I'll discuss some of those. First of all, underpinned by need, we believe that properly designed environmental reporting standards and related need matrix could be truly informative about how firms are reducing and reversing their needs, thus preventing greenwashing, allowing effective resource allocation both by business and its financiers, as well as galvanizing stakeholder action where needed. Similar, and also we believe that similar to carbon emissions for air, water and land use related need matrix should also be developed. For example, those related to biodiversity loss, and then applied and reported across the business value chain. We also believe that environmental regulation should be designed to make it cost effective for businesses to reduce and reverse their needs. Only then, I believe that we will be able to address the existential environmental threats that we face today. Thank you for listening.